Okay, I'm going to do a video today. Today is November 29th. It's been raining for the last few days, and we probably received between 2 and 3 inches of rain. And the temperatures have dropped, and it's in the 30s, mid to low 30s right now. The other day I was out bow hunting. It was in the evening, and it was almost dark. And I had shot a doe, and it was raining, and it was dark, and I didn't find a very good blood trail at all. So, I decided that I would go back in the morning because the temperatures were cold, and I knew that it would be okay. So, I went back the next day to find this deer, and when I found it, I was looking in an area that ran into an area where there was a bunch of fallen trees. And these trees have been laying there for several years, and they've decayed, and it was a woody bottomland in there. And I found some oyster mushrooms growing. And I didn't have anything to carry them home in that day, so I figured I would go back and get them. And it had been raining really hard the last few days, so I didn't get a chance until today to go and pick these mushrooms. And, a lot of people don't realize that in the wintertime you can get quite a few mushrooms. I'm sure that I've got 10 pounds of mushrooms here, from just one trip out. And, I'm going to cook some steak tonight. I'm going to cook these mushrooms with it, make some gravy and stuff, and it's going to be really good. So what I was wanting to do is make a video, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the camera and I'm going to give you some close-up views of what these oyster mushrooms look like. That way when you're out in the woods hunting or hiking or fishing, and if you happen to stumble across these, you'll know that these are good to eat, and you can pick them and take them home with you and have them for dinner. So I'm going to grab the camera, and I'm going to put that camera on these oyster mushrooms, and let's take a look at them and see what they look like up close. Okay, now as you can see, these mushrooms have different coloration to them. Though these were all picked in the same area, you can see how lightly colored these are. And these were picked probably no more than 20 yards away from these. And look at how much browner they are. A lot of times in the summertime, in the spring, if you find these oyster mushrooms, they're almost a snowy white. And later into the fall and into the winter months, when you find them, they're typically a little more ivory color or this brownish color. But, you can identify these mushrooms by the gills that they have. They have a serrated gill to them. And that's a pretty good indicator as far as identifying this particular mushroom. They grow in like these clusters. You can find them though growing in singles, or like right here there's like 3 of them in this one, and they'll grow on a log, and they'll be shelved up, and they're pretty easy to identify. But what you're looking for is, you can turn them upside down, and you got these gills. And, I recommend that, if you pick these, and if you're not familiar with them, it's always a good idea to have somebody that knows the mushroom positively identify it. But once you get to know this particular mushroom, it's pretty easy to identify, and once you find it a few times, you'll become an expert at identification of these particular mushrooms, because you know they're pretty much, you know, to their own. You know, it's kind of hard to confuse them. And you know, like I said, here's some more brown ones, and I've got some smaller ones in here I wanted to show you. These were growing on a stump, and this is what they look like when they first start. And as they, you know, if you find these small ones like that, you can wait a couple of days if you know it's going to continue to rain and if the temperature is cold, and they will develop into this. So you can see the difference. You know, you give them a couple of days and go back and you know, they will grow. And normally, if you find these mushrooms growing in an area, you can go back to that area, you know, for several years, because they kind of stay where you find them at. They're not kind of hit and miss. Once you find the areas where these grow, you can continue to search there, and you'll always be finding this particular variety of mushroom. So anyway, you know, I hope that this video will help you in identifying these particular mushrooms. And you know, if you happen to see them out when you're hunting or whatever, grab them. And like I said, even if you don't know for sure if they're the oyster mushroom or not, you can take them to somebody and you know, get them identified. So anyway, hopefully this will help you with the oyster mushroom, and good luck finding them, and I will see you on my next video.